Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. After having a bye week, courtesy of the top seed in Division 7, Region 25, the Warren JFK Eagles will get into the field of 16 in Division 7, Region 25, as JFK takes on another local team, the Lowellville Rockets. That'll be on Friday night. The game has been moved to Leopard Stadium in Liberty because Warren JFK is going to be playing a home game against Maple Heights. And joining me to talk about this game on Friday night, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles, Don Prologo. Coach Prologo, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Let's first and foremost, you go to Liberty. Now, both Liberty and Mollenkopf happen to have turf, so I can't imagine that there's going to be a huge difference between the two facilities.
No, obviously Mollenkopf has a lot of familiarity because that's our home field. But, we did play at Liberty last year because of a similar thing during the regular season. And we played against Valley Christian last year. I believe it was week 2. So our kids are familiar with the stadium. They're familiar with the locker room facilities. So it's not a real big difference for us now.
Coach, if I were to put some truth serum into you and asked you about the possibility or the fact that you guys had a bye week, what would you have said under a truth serum?
I honestly, it was needed. It was great. We played a grueling schedule. Finished the season with Division III Howland, and that was a real physical game. But truthfully, outside of the coach speak of we needed to get healthy, it was good to have a week off. We were able to go back to basics and things like that. The real reality is we didn't win on week 6, and having a week off, our kids were kind of chomping at the bit to try to get back into action again. So we're looking forward to getting the game in this week.
In a perfect world, if you are going to have a week off, and it sounds really stupid to say this, but if you're going to have a week off, you might as well have a week off after a loss, because it seems to me that loss just festers and festers, and then by the time it's game time, these kids are ready to just go through a brick wall and go through anybody just because they're that ticked off.
I'm hoping that you're right. I'm hoping that you're right. The way we practiced the last 2 weeks, I would venture to say that it's pointing that way. But, we'll find out Friday night how excited our kids are to go back out and cleanse themselves of what happened, that in our last ball game.
Talk about an off week. What goes through that? Knowing that you're not going to be playing football on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and you're free for that weekend. What do you do in terms of the preparation on an off week?
Well, it's really uncharted territory for pretty much all the coaches that I'm close with or that I've coached with before. So, and myself, in all the years I've been doing this, really haven't had bye weeks. So. We were fortunate. One of the guys on our staff is Angelo Barbero. He played at Villanova, and we were able to pick his brain as to what they would do on bye weeks. And he brought in some of his schedules from back in the day, and we looked at those and made a decision of what we were going to do. And the bottom line was we felt like we needed to get our kids' legs back a little bit. So we went a lot of pro pads and. But what we were able to really accomplish during that week was we didn't know who we were playing, so what we were able to accomplish that week was let's get back to basics. Let's go back to starts and stances. Let's go back to, takeoffs. Let's go back to alignments. Let's get back to the basics. Every day we got back to doing our tackling drills, a turnover circuit. It was something that we haven't been able to do in the past. And I think our kids took advantage of it and practiced really hard doing those things. So I'm anxious to see how it works out.
Warren JFK head football coach Don Prologo joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, obviously in a COVID world, it is so very difficult to go to a high school football game. I mean, damn near impossible. Yet the coaches were allowed to go to playoff games. I'm assuming you guys were able to go into Struthers to check out Lowellville and Valley Christian. If you did, what did you take out of that game?
No doubt. I really was impressed with what Lowellville does. I thought that Valley Christian took a little time to get themselves motivated or get their feet under them, whatever you want to say. And I thought they played a lot better as the game went on. But I was very impressed with what Lowellville does. So it was great to see them live. See what type of physicality they play with, and because you can't really see a lot of those things on film. So we got to see what type of team. Even though sizes are reported in a roster, it's always good to go see guys live and see what they actually look like, how physical they play. So it was good to see that. And you know what else? It was good to go see a ball game that wasn't ours. Like you said, you can't go see games anymore. I was fortunate to be able to see the Canfield Howling game week 1 because they played on a Thursday, and Coach Pav was able to get me into the stadium to watch that game. And other than that, that was the only other game I saw this year besides the JFK game live until until we got to go to Struthers and see the Lowellville Valley Christian game.
I would imagine that both seeing a game live and watching film both has their advantages. Now, I'm seeing a game live. You're able to see the game, and you're able to expand the horizon, depending on how far you're up in the stands, or if you're in the press box, you're able to see the entire defense. You're able to see everything form and whatnot. I guess the disadvantage in that, and maybe I'm wrong on this, you let me know one way or the other. The disadvantage on this is until we have technology, there's no instant replay. So the film aspect of it is better because you can go back and forth and say, wait a second, what did this guy do again? And try to pick up patterns and uniqueness about the opposing team's offense or defense. I suppose both of them are good in and of itself, but I'm with you. You give me a live game and just take some mental notes and write some stuff down.
Yeah. I'm a huge film guy. I guess if you gave me my choice and said you can only do one or the other, obviously I want film. Going back to what you said, I want to run it back. I want to be able to see, to certify what I think I'm seeing. And so film does allow me to do that. I may see something, but then again, live, but I might, like you said, there's no replay. So I might say to myself, well, I'm not sure if that's right where he lined up or if that's who made that play. But on film, you obviously can see those type of things. So I'm a big film guy, but I learned a long time ago with the guys I was fortunate to coach under, there's no substitute for seeing a team play live. You can't substitute being able to watch a team, see what type of physicality they play with. Then there's little nuances also that you get to see. Are they no huddle? You don't get to see that stuff from a film because most films don't start until the team's come up to the ball. And in today's day and age, there's all these check-with-me offenses that are looking to the sideline, so you're not 100% sure if they ever even huddled or not. And so that's one thing. Obviously, you can get a team's cadence to be able to know what their cadence is, and when your team gets to practice using that cadence all week, it certainly helps your defense to be able to get off the ball. So there's those little things. Is there communication between the receivers and the quarterback that goes on? Those are things you may not see on film as much as you probably see live. So I do like to, obviously if you have the chance to see them live, but if you gave me my choice, I want film.
Coach, let me ask you, when you're allowed to go and scout teams, does the OHSAA allow those coaches to come in with with video, with an opportunity to film the game?
No, that's I guess you probably could do it. I honestly, I've never asked that question. I don't think you're allowed to. I've never done that. In my whole career, I've never seen a team do that. So I'd imagine that that's probably illegal. But in today's day and age with these iPhones, I wouldn't be shocked to see somebody up in the stands or somebody down on the sideline, on the fence or whatever. They pick up their phone and video something. I wouldn't be surprised at that. But if it's not illegal, it certainly is unethical.
Well, I gotta throw out my inner Bill Belichick. I mean, I got my iPhone right here, and there's no question that's what I would do. I mean, now if it's illegal, then obviously I'm not going to do it. But I don't think I've ever, and I guess that's a question for Tim Street when we have him on next. But if it's not illegal, I'll bring my inner Belichick out and use an iPhone and start filming a lot of interesting things that could very easily be the difference between a win and a loss the next time you play this team.
Well, you know what? What's that old saying? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
There you go.
So yeah, honestly, no. I guess if I thought that the team was not going to trade film with me, that we've had difficulty with the coach in the past not trading us a film, I guess that might cross my mind, but. I don't really think that's something that I unless I knew that it was legal, I probably wouldn't try to do that. No.
See, for me, if a guy's giving me a hard time trading film, or if a guy's just refusing to give me film, then I'm just going to run the score up on him, because that's me. That's how I roll.
Well, when being around as long as I have, one of the things that I've been able to do is have a lot of coaches that I'm friends with. So if you don't want to give me film, eventually I'm going to find that contact that's going to be able to get, earlier in the year we had a situation with a coach with some film, and, we were able to get the opponent of his last opponent to send us the game. And that's today's day and age, it doesn't pay to be a goose, and not trade film with people, because most coaching staffs have a great connections, and you're going to get film if you need it. So, but no, that's a great question about filming something, and no, I don't think that's something that's crossed my mind. But I guess if we weren't able to get film from somebody, that would probably be something I'd want to do. And yeah, I know Bill Belichick, that thing of let me film their signals on the sidelines. I wouldn't be surprised if people have done that to us in the past, because I have felt like in the past that some of the teams we played really knew exactly what we were running. And I thought, how the heck do they know that when we're signaling our plays? And, but at the end of the day, it's pretty rewarding when a team's calling out that you're running ISO right, and you are running ISO right, and you pick up 12 yards. And it's like, we're running the ball here. Good luck. Let's go.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how the Packers were able to do what they did during the Lombardi era, because everyone knew, all right, here comes the sweep, and everyone knows it's coming, and yet Horning and Taylor were able to get bunches and bunches of yards out of the deal.
Oh, I got a great story. Back in 2005 when I was at Canfield, we were really good back then. We had Dan at fullback, we had Barbero at tailback, Baker at quarterback. And honest to goodness, there were games where, and our kids were kind of, they were gooses as the season went on. They knew they were pretty good. There were games where they would come up to the line of scrimmage, and our right guard, who's a Navy SEAL, by the way, right now, he would look at the D-line and say, we're running the ball right here on one. Good luck. And we'd go to film the next day, and the kids would be laughing, and what's going on? Ryan Pitzer was just standing up there every play. We're running the ball here. We're running the ball there. We're running the ball there. It's on one. It's on two. And we're like, are you kidding me? And they're just like, no. He goes, they said, you know how demoralizing that must have been for them, knowing that we were telling them what the play was and they still couldn't stop it. And we just, as coaches, we just kind of sat back and we're like, you know what? That's why we're good. These kids they've got a little edge to them. They got a little attitude to themselves. And but it was kind of neat that they did that. And, Van and Barbero are running for 200 yards that night. So it was pretty neat.
Hey, swagger's a good thing, and you
Yeah.
have to have it in sports. You
Yep.
must have it in order to have a
Yep.
championship caliber team. You got to have some guys, and it's not arrogant cockiness. There's a big difference between the two. Swagger's a
Yep.
wonderful thing. It's as
Yep.
long as you don't go over the edge to arrogant
100%.
cockiness.
100%. You're 100% right. Those guys that I've coached throughout my career that got a little swag to them, and they're not cocky about it. They just play with that swagger. A, they think they can do anything. And B, the other team starts to wonder, can I stop this guy? I love kids who show up and they got a little swag to them.
Cameron Hollabaugh, has he got some swag to him?
Oh, yeah. Cameron Hollabaugh.
I love how you answered that, Coach.
Cameron Hollabaugh is a dog, and he freaking makes sure everybody knows he's a dog. He's got a little swag to him, and our kids feed off of that because they know that they got a guy in Cameron Hollabaugh that can change a game at any moment. They know they got a guy like Jesse Likens that can change the game at any moment. And when those guys are showing a little bit of swag and they're feeling it, our guys know it and they pick it up. And but yeah, Cam is the alpha dog of the field whenever he's on it.
Coach, let me ask you. You guys are seeded number one, and rightfully so. I mean, this is you're the best program in this region on paper. That's the reason why you got the number one seed. And clearly, the number one seed comes the responsibility of having home field advantage all the way to the regional finals and possibly the regional finals, because the OHSAA has not announced whether the regional finals are going to be neutral field or not. So, but as long as you guys are in the tournament, you guys are going to continue to have home field, whether it be Liberty or Mollenkopf Stadium. Attached to that one seed, is there a lot of pressure, or do you feel a lot of pressure being the one seed and knowing that everyone is gunning for you guys?
No, you know what? When you go to Warren JFK, that responsibility is automatically there. When you put that K on your head, you put that K, your helmet that has a K on it on your head, you've already assumed the responsibility that you're supposed to go out and play a certain way. You're supposed to go out and win. And we told our kids that when we got hired here, make no mistake. We're here to win ball games, and winning week 1 through 10 is great around, throughout the season. You want to win games, but at the end of the day, we're here because JFK is a playoff program, and your responsibility is to make that run as far as you possibly can. So, as far as the pressure goes, now I think our kids they live with that from the day they show up, that responsibility. That gets preached to them constantly. There's no shortcuts to championships, and JFK's been there. So, we already play with a little bit of responsibility in that aspect. And as far as the number one seed, the overall importance this year in that was, in most years, once you get past game 1 in the playoffs, you're going to be on a neutral site that's going to offer turf. And this year, that's not the case. So if a number one seed had a field that was just regular grass, which we don't play on very much anymore. We only played one regular grass game this year, and that was against Garrettsville Garfield. So even though we practice on regular grass, we're used to playing ball games on turf. And so the overall importance this year was, if you're the number one seed, you're going to be able to play at home on turf all the way through the playoffs, no matter how long you're fortunate enough to keep winning. Because let's face it, if they do move us to a neutral site for a regional championship, it's going to have turf. And with the fans not being that big of an impact this year because of the limited numbers that are there, that's not a concern that you're going to go to some stadium that's going to blow you out with noise and crowd excitement and get the other team pumped up. The key this year was trying to make sure we were able to, assure ourselves that seed so that we can make sure we're on turf throughout the playoffs, and something else wasn't going to neutralize who we were.
Don Prologo, our guest, he is the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles. According to 21 sports director Dana Bolish, the OHSAA football brackets have been updated. There are 4 playoff games that will not happen because there are 4 teams that have a COVID outbreak. Therefore, the 4 playoff teams that have a COVID outbreak are now eliminated from postseason. The opponents are going to take a trip to the quarterfinals without having played a game. Obviously, there's a lot of folks that don't like this particular part of the postseason. However, the OHSAA made it known. Listen, we're not going to play these games past Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to end this the weekend before Thanksgiving. Coach, I'm going to ask you, it's not popular, but do you understand where the OHSAA is coming from? And more importantly, is this the greatest fear for a coach or a program?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to the OHSAA's thoughts and how they're making their decisions. I mean, I think it would be almost impossible to have to reschedule a playoff game, obviously. So I get that. But yeah, this is the biggest fear. I'm fortunate to coach great kids who have, come from who are good, come from good families, who have parents that care about them. So my fear isn't maybe the same as some coaches who might be fearful that their kids are out doing something stupid. And my biggest fear now that we're in the playoffs is exactly what you just said. We preach to our kids daily, but about eliminating their exposure to people and trying to not go to the party that everybody's going to, and stay away from situations where you're going to be exposed, have a bigger exposure to COVID. Even in school, wearing your mask, washing your hands, using the hand sanitizer. We are constantly preaching to our kids about that because of that fear. That you could have a great year and have a magical year and be making some type of a run and all of a sudden Monday you're turning in your equipment, and not because you lost it on the field, because somebody got COVID. And so yeah, that's the biggest fear right now, if you ask me, that I'm dealing with. That's the one thing that keeps me up at night. I mean, I know my kids are going to show up and play football. That doesn't make I don't lose sleep over that. What I lose sleep over is because if you're better than us, then you're better than us. So I don't lose sleep over a loss. I lose sleep right now over that silent thing that could cost us our season that we have no control over.
Coach, before we let you go, what is one thing, the one thing that JFK must do in order to get a victory on Friday night against Lowellville?
Well, certainly to stop the things that cost us the last game that we played. Don't turn the ball over and don't get penalties. If we don't turn the ball over and we play smart football, we're going to be fine.
All right, Coach, all the best to you. Good luck on Friday night against Lowellville. And if you happen to win that game, you get the winner of Southern Local and Norwalk St. Paul. So best of luck to you, and we will catch up down the road, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You got it, sir. Don Prologo, he is the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles.